We have a game here between Nurgle's PA and Wardancer. Norska and Wood Elves. A matchup that feels thematic, but is not. Norska and the Wood Elves hardly ever interact at all in the lore, so it's not a common thing. For Norska, looks like we have a pretty good competitive build here. 3 skin wolves, 3 dogs. 2 of the dogs are ice wolves. One of the dogs is the Norscan Warhound RR, the Beast of Tashnar. Front line, very mixed for our friends of Norska. A lot of Marauders, some have spears though. 1 Marauder Berserker, 1 Marauder Champion, 2 Marauder Hunters with Javelins, a Firecaster with Burning Head, and then Wulfric the Wanderer with Fight or Die, Seafang, and Hunter of Champions. On the other side for the Wood Elves, we have a front line of Wardancers, 4 of them. Some Wardancers with Azrai Spears as well, who just got buffs to their cost. Buffs being less cost, but good, obviously. So a bunch of Wardancers, very elite infantry. We have a Spellweaver of Life with Flesh to Stone and Earthblood. And then a lot of cavalry in the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, Blade Riders, and Great Stag Knights, who are now charging against these dogs. Blade Riders taking most of the damage, Great Stag Knights and Wild Hunters of Kurnos backing them up. Other Wild Riders and Glade Riders fighting across there. Big Burning Head does look like it takes out an entire Wardancer unit. But I'm more focused on this cavalry fight right now. In the woods, technically, I mean, usually, not technically, usually cavalry would not be doing super well against dogs and stuff because of trees. But with the Woodsman passive on the Wood Elves, I don't think they take debuffs from the forest. And Wardancer's Azrai Spear showing up means these skin wolves are about to have a terrible time. Wood Elf front line, doing okay wherever it didn't get Burning Headed or whatever. But overall, the front lines did trade about 50-50. Norska broke through on some parts. Wood Elves broke through on other parts. This southern flank we are watching seems to be going heavily in the favor of the Wood Elves, while the northern flank is working out for Norska a bit better. And Wulfric is trying to snipe out the Spellweaver of Life. Hunter of Champions is on her, giving her 0 melee defense and 52 melee attack. Wulfric should be able to easily keep up with her and do good damage there. Hopefully he can turn some things around for Norska. So overall, the flanks going bad for them is really bad as far as the game goes, because all the infantry in the world can't save you from cycle charging and healing and crap like that. Spell of Life takes about 3/4 of her HP in a duel with Wulfric. She's now running away. She is faster than him, though charging is a hell of a drug, and speed is wildly inconsistent in Warhammer. I wouldn't even say Warhammer 3, because I've been making videos about this since Warhammer 2, so like, in Total War Warhammer, speed is a suggestion. Wardancer's Azrai Spear is trying to come back to the fight. Looks like they will not be in time to save the Spellweaver of Life. Wulfric is still after. In the backfield, we have some Wild Riders almost dead. Whoa, that was weird. Almost dead, but the Beast of Tashnar and Skin Wolves are going to opt out. They don't want to fight those Wardancers with Azrai Spears that are still around. These Wardancers have been really threatening, just walking ominously. Wild Hunters of Kurnos and Great Stag Knights, done with their victory in the forest, have popped out to really harass Norska's backline. The Marauder Hunters with Javelins already pushed off. Spellweaver of Life still getting chased by Wulfric around the map. She managed to avoid the edge and is now running parallel to the edge, which is great for her, terrible for Norska. Norska is ahead on the balance of power. I don't know if I agree. Wild Riders get a free charge onto the back of some Skin Wolves. That'll be really good for them. Can they shock those guys into routing before the Skin Wolves really start fighting back? Because if they fight back, the Wild Riders are going to be in trouble. Spellweaver of Life is super close to the edge of the map. Wulfric's closing in on her. And she manages to rally at the very edge, immediately gets movement orders, and Wulfric hits a tree and allows her to escape. She throws Flesh to Stone for that physical resistance. Meanwhile, the Beast of Tashnar came and aided the Skin Wolves. So Norska gets a win over there, but the Wood Elves get a win on their caster coming back. Some of their cavalry is a little idle in the midfield, as I'm sure they're microing the shit out of this situation. Hunter of Champions once again slowing down the Spellweaver of Life, allowing Wulfric to catch up to her, but patch 4.0 is a cruel mistress, and he walks right next to her instead of attacking at all. Wardancer's Azrai Spears are here, and Wulfric knows he cannot stay and needs to back off. Elsewhere, Wardancers with Azrai Spears continuing to fight, though that is Marauder Champions, so those Wardancers are doomed. Skin Wolf's going to rear charge these other ones. The cavalry of the Wood Elves is starting to come to help out a little bit. Full health basic Marauder shouldn't be too difficult to kill. Norscan Ice Wolves may have bitten off a little more than they can chew as an Earthblood hits these two elite knights, and they will get rid of those guys. And this could be actually a disaster for Norska, as they might be trickling in too many resources one at a time. Dogs rout, then these Skin Wolves are going to get crushed, and then all of the mobility of Norska could get killed. But they hold for long enough, and the Wood Elves' low armor is coming back to haunt them. There go the Beasts of Tashnar, there go the Skin Wolves, so things are starting to turn in the Wood Elves' favor. But they took a good amount of damage. And Flesh to Stone for the Wild Hunters of Kurnos. Trying to get rid of those guys. Wardancers, Azure Spears, and basic Wardancers still fighting against the Marauder champions, getting rid of the basic Marauders. The champions won't be going anywhere so easily, though. The Firecaster is trying his luck with this Belly of Life. That is bold. A Seafang went through the cavalry. Probably should have been saved for some of these super healthy Wardancers. The Elite Knights of the Wood Elves trying to surround the Shaman Sorcerer of Fire, but they're currently doing jank things. He's not even on foot. I'm kind of surprised how jank they're being there. Now they start to get some decent hits in. The Wardancers are even running up. So the Cav just have to hold him in place for those Spear Infantry to actually get here and do the work. That's a good Seafang. No, it's a Burning Head. Oh, still really good. Just roasts that Wardancer unit and continues to travel with the cavalry. Not that it'll do that much damage, but it's still doing a little bit extra. So that was a great Burning Head. More Wardancers grouping up in the distance. The Azrai Spears and the other basic Wardancers are still poking down those Marauder champions. And Wolfric is threatening. Bounce powers come back to the middle. It's the first time Norska hasn't been up in a while. We have two Wardancers stacked here. Do we have a Seafang? There's one Seafang left. Is it off cooldown? If it could go through here, that would be really huge. Wild Hunters of Kurnos getting pushed off by basic Marauders. There are a lot of basic infantry for Norska coming in here. Wolfric's getting beat up. He's taking a lot of damage and a big Earthblood. Keep the Great Stag Knights and Wardancers feeling healthy. Wild Hunters of Kurnos trying to cycle charge a little bit. Understandable. Marauder champions in the distance did finish off those Wardancers. Wolfric is still completely surrounded here, having a bad time. Hunter champion should also be off cooldown soon, so he could at least make that Mage of Life a little bit more vulnerable. As those Marauders were full health a second ago, they're already down to half HP. Cycle charging for the Wood Elves is doing a lot of damage. Wood Elves pulling ahead on the balance of power. Wolfric is still surrounded. Still haven't seen that Seafang. Oh, I didn't see the cast for it, but it just happened. Rips through, kind of touches all three Wardancers, but didn't want to friendly fire his own troops. That makes sense. One of them does rout from that extra damage. Wolfric is still surrounded by spears, still trying to fight his way out as the Life Caster is now healthier than he is for the first time in a long time. But the Wood Elf support is crumbling under the weight of just so many Marauders. The Marauders have definitely taken a lot of damage for their transgressions. She looked like she was casting something. I didn't see where it ended up going, but Wolfric catches up to her once again. Great Stag Knights are going to rear charge him, though. He tries to get out of there, and he should succeed. He can get back to his Marauder champions. Great Stag Knights start some charge animations. They mostly miss, and they plow into those Marauder champs, but they're taking more damage than they're dealing. They probably need to back off. Marauder Berserkers chop through these Wardancers, crushing those guys. 100 champions once again on Spell Reaver Life. Wolfric has been after her all game. He's trying to catch up now. He does get a nice hit, but the Great Stag Knights are upon him, and this might be too isolated. It might be more than he wanted, but he does get another hit onto the Life Caster, which is really, really good for him. Can he get a third? He does get a third. Can he get a fourth and finish her off? As the Great Stag Knights are bumping him around, he is still right next to her. He could potentially hit her again, but it is not to be, as the Great Stag Knights will hold him back. He's now chasing her again, but we all saw how that went last time. For the Wood Elves, we still have two cavalry, though they are both very, very injured. And this one, before I do the where each army is at, the Great Stag Knights are beating the shit out of Wolfric. He's about to rout. Fight or die keeps him in the battle for just a little bit longer, but he's sub 400 HP. Great Stag Knight's still fighting, and the Elf Caster is away. 0 leadership, but she could rally. Sometimes, depending on the rounding, it's positive. Sometimes it's not a positive. Great Stag Knights are still after Wolfric, and they're catching up to him. They're faster, and they got a little bit of a charge bonus. Big hits onto him. He is falling in leadership. For the Wood Elves, some of their Wardancers are running away from Berserkers. Wild Riders are also running away from all that shit. Great Stag Knights just trying to kill Wolfric off. Super careful with the Spell Reaver Life. If she routes one more time, she will shatter. So she is rallying for now. Looks like the cavalry and the caster need to group up and get some heals down while the Wardancers get killed off. For Norska, we still have some Berserkers, still have some Marauders, some Marauder champions in the distance. A very, very healthy Marauder Hunter Javelin, but no ammunition. The Earthblood missed the Spellweaver of Life. And for the Wood Elves, we have some more Dancers in the distance coming back. Of course, the 2 very injured cavalry and a healing caster. See how much healing she has left. Marauder champs take a bunch of damage on the charge, but they're dealing it back. Oof. And this lady is going in maybe way too deep. 5 leadership on her. And like we said, if she routs, she shatters. Bit of a whoopsie there for the High Elves. Wood Elves. Fuck. I almost said Dark Elves, and then I tried to correct, and I just failed. So a bit of a whoopsie there. They lost their caster. They lost their Lord. With a bit of over-aggression. Great Stag Knights and Wild Riders just not getting a lot of damage on his Marauder champions. Now they're getting completely surrounded by these infantry. They're getting dragged down to 6 models on the Great Stag Knights, 18 on the Wild Hunters who are trying to break out as the Great Stag Knights even rout. Wardancers coming back on both sides. Wild Hunters just going that way. The Wood Elf leadership's already not doing great though. And with the Lord going off the battlefield soon, that will get even worse for them as Wild Riders try to charge in here. Get a nice 400 damage charge, trying to shock down those Marauder champions. But their Wardancers have shattered nearby. Berserkers are cleaving into them. They were at 18 models when they charged in. They're down to 12 and falling. Great Stag Knights charge in, also getting good damage out there at 4 models. 11 and 4. Falling, falling, falling. Negative 11 on the Great Stag Knights. They rout yet again, and the Wardancers are still trying to get here, still trying to support the battle. Wood Elf caster is just about off the field, just going to disappear any moment now as these Wardancers try and line up a fight. And something we all need to remember is that there's a full health Javelin over there. The Marauder Javelins aren't slouches in melee combat. 27, 23. It's not amazing, but it's something. Wild Riders charge in. The Marauder champions are almost routing. The Great Stag Knights are back with a downhill charge just before they shatter. Wardancers rout. The Wild Hunters of Kurnos rout. And Norska will hold on. The power of their Marauders is enough. Wolfric did great. Firecaster did fine. Skinwolves, mixed. Mixed. Not amazing. Dogs, pretty darn good. Marauder champions and the Berserkers, very, very good. Jav throwers did fine, and basic Marauders did pretty well. For Butter Lancer and his Wood Elves, his caster did okay. She did some healing stuff. His cavalry did pretty darn well overall. Wardancers that have the right spears didn't quite pay for themselves. His basic Wardancers also didn't pay for themselves, and the Glade Riders struggled. GG.